Hello. Sorry, I kept going to the wrong YouTube account. I didn't even know I had to, but I guess I do. All right. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Stevie. Good morning. Carolyn. Good morning. Michael. Good morning. Um, Hope you are well. And am I coming through okay? Because I've got a video that's been downloading for the past hour in the background, so I'm hoping that everything will be okay. What is going on with you all today? How are you feeling? Can't wait to do some stuff with our bodies, our minds, bringing ourselves to right here, right now. Anybody want to share anything? I want to tell some of you that practice with me in person, which is most of the people that are here. We're potentially going to go live in July. So that is exciting. And that's what we're working on. So maybe this will be live in July. So let's see what happens. All right. So let's do it. I know what I wanted to get. I want to get a bolster. So I would like to have something for today. I think I'm going to be okay with these. All right. For today's class, I want to use a bolster at some point during the class. Now, I know that you may not all have a bolster. Most people don't, probably. But this could actually be pillows, or especially a hard pillow from a sofa. And I was speaking with someone the other day, and she told me that she started doing yoga. Did she say she did it when she was younger? I can't remember. But she said that when she goes to a yoga class, she needs to use every single prop they have. And I said, yeah, me too. Like, I love using the props. So I would love to use a bolster today or a pillow for some of what I'd like to do today for strengthening our backs. And it'll be helpful to have this elevation from the floor. And that's what props do. Props actually bring the floor to you, or they fill in the spaces of what you need when we're bending the body or lengthening the body. In the practice of yoga, the physical practice, we're bending joints or we are stretching muscles. We're either extending joints beyond their range of motion or we're bending them. And then if we come into a place where we hold those positions, there's a muscular action, right? So we're trying to either strengthen the joints by strengthening the muscles that mobilize and stabilize the joints. And so with props, you bring in the support. And I think it's really amazing. And I don't know what my life would have been like if I didn't have the journey I had with my hip. But I know that I needed props in order to continue this practice in my 40s when my body was breaking down. I really needed them, or I couldn't have done a lot of what I did. So props are great. Go get yourself a hard pillow or even a towel that you roll up into a ball, or a couple of pillows, so that when we do part of what we're going to do today, you'll have that. And then because we have the pillow, you could begin your practice today on your back if you'd like, with the bolster underneath your knees. Especially if you're working on taking roundness out of your posture, you could do that. Or you could do a little elevation, and maybe I'll do the elevation today. We're going to need a blanket and strap and block for the practice. So I'm going to do a little elevation because some people have a hard time getting down onto the ground, or the process of getting down onto the ground is a challenge. So if coming from a seated or standing position is a challenge to get all the way down, sometimes doing these intermediary steps can be really helpful. And setting yourself up for success during the practice is the goal. You may need a blanket behind your neck if you're going to do an elevation. You might not have the actual props here like this. So you may have blankets or pillows that are elevating you. Or again, you may be on the ground with your back on the ground, head lightly supported by a blanket, and then a bolster or something underneath your knees. So choosing the way that you'd like to begin your practice today. The way that you'd like to begin bringing everything to this moment, to this place. So wherever you are, close your eyes. Find some relatively comfortable seated or kneeling position to begin. Keep your mouth closed. Begin to breathe in and out through your nose. And in this position, gently become an observer, a witness to your body, noticing. How are you feeling? What is today like for you? What is the activity of your mind? And bring yourself inside. Feeling your lungs expand and contract. And then let's see if we can put our body into a position to facilitate more grounding with mental energy, more present moment awareness with the body, and some therapeutic stretching to create more space in the joints, in the spine, allowing for more space for breath to regulate the nervous system, the respiratory system, the circulatory system, support detoxification and immunity. In this moment, all of that, self-healing. So keeping yourself in this more calm, quiet awareness place. We're going to come onto whatever it is you've chosen as your way to a lower position, maybe all the way onto the ground or on a supported bolster, making it be whatever you need it to be. So coming onto it, and if it feels like you need some kind of adjustment, adjust. Bring yourself, find comfort. So if it's a little chilly, maybe you want to cover yourself with a blanket. If you're feeling a little lightheaded or airy or anxious, maybe having a blanket on top of your belly will be nice and grounding and heavy and comforting. All of these are different suggestions to try. Bring your arms out to the side. Arrive here, mouth is closed. Notice what you notice. And then if your mind is still pretty busy, you could take your head side to side. You stimulate more of the somatic, more feeling aspects. So let's focus today on fully expanding our lungs, bringing breath into all the nooks and crannies. We're going to do what's called a 3-part breath, filling the lower lobes of the lungs, the middle lobes of the lungs, and the upper lobes of the lungs. Bring your awareness at first to the upper lobes of the lungs. This is where most people breathe. This is where breath seems to be more effortless for many. So bringing your breath in your nose, down the back of your throat, into your lungs, breathe upwards towards your head. Feeling the stretch in the upper lungs, by the clavicle bones, by the upper bones of the back. and by your armpits, right where your arms attach to your body. Visualize it as well. Breath comes in and it goes to the top of the lungs. And now right to the middle lungs where the heart is. Breathe into the middle lungs, the top, the sides, and the back. See if you can feel yourself getting wider with this breath. And now breathe to the lower lobes of the lungs. So bring your awareness to your lower rib cage, the front, the sides, and the back. And as you breathe here, feel all of those parts of you expand. The front, the sides, and the back of the lower ribs. Notice if it's equal side to side, left side, right side. Let's put this together. We're going to do the 3-part breath from the lower lobes of the lungs, the middle, and the upper. Visualizing the lower ribs, the middle ribs by the heart, and then the upper ribs by the clavicle bones. Keep your mouth closed. Take a big exhale. And let's begin. Inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Exhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Exhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Exhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper. Inhale, lower, middle, upper. Exhale, lower, middle, upper.
Inhale, lower, middle, upper. Exhale, lower, middle, upper. Inhale, lower, middle, upper. Exhale, lower, middle, upper. Continue on your own. Breathing lower, middle, upper, and exhaling from the lower, the middle, and the upper. Be in your body, feel what's happening. Visualize the lungs filling up as you direct the breath. Finishing your last couple of breaths. Giving the breath back to your body to breathe itself. Become an observer to notice where is the breath when your body breathes itself. Do you feel the diaphragm moving? Do you feel the breath going to the middle of the lungs or the upper? Does it feel short, shallow, quick, heavy, soft, light, asymmetrical or symmetrical, from front to back, side to side, and top to bottom? Bring your awareness to your body to bring in some movement. Fingers and toes. Bending the knees if they're straight. We're going to come up to a position, take a couple of breaths to get there. So coming onto either off the prop or stay on it wherever you are, whatever today feels like you want to do. And then when you do bring yourself up, don't lead with your head. So bring your hands onto the ground, use the pushing muscles of the arms and the hands and the upper torso to bring yourself up to seated or kneeling. And then noticing when you get here, how you feel. You could close your eyes if you feel like you want to, or if you open your eyes, notice what is the level of relaxation. And if you were to give this a number of 0 to 10, 10 would be you plop down on a big cushy sofa. You feel completely like you're yielding to that sofa, all your body weight. Give yourself a range there from what you just did on that relaxation scale. Ever since I began teaching in 2010, I have always prioritized breath. And I think that's because of all of my training, realizing the value of that above all else. If you did nothing else, it would be to breathe in the practice of yoga. And the hardest posture to do in yoga is the breath. The hardest posture is to control the mind, meditation. And that's why all of these steps of yoga lead up to preparing our body and our mind for that. This is going to ground your mental energy. It's going to support the body systems, regulate and find internal balance to allow you to then come into a place where you can go into a meditative state, go into a prayer state, or go into a place of gratitude and be in a place of present moment, which is where healing exists and takes place. When I studied in India with my teacher in 2020, his father, who was a physician, and himself, who's a physician, this is where they began. This is where the medical doctor, who was a yoga master, this is where he begins the training. We began with breath because it is so valuable. What we did today was 3-part breath. We did diaphragm, like lower lobes, middle and upper, and we exhaled that way as well. And so some people say, wait, why are we not exhaling from the top? If we've filled ourselves up, wouldn't it make sense that the breath comes out from the top? No, because the breath is coming into and out of right this space here, right? The bronchial tubes begin here, but the muscular action or the apparatus that determines whether the breath comes in or out is the diaphragm. So you want to initiate your breath from the diaphragm inward and in your exhalation. All right, if I gave myself a level, it would be a 9 out of 10. I felt so completely relaxed and I really focused on that. And for me, I focused on healing. And one more thing I wanted to say, when we first began our breath, even though we're in a supine position on our back, so we have that restriction of the backward movement of the lungs, I felt a spinal correction. I felt my joints move. And I was like, wow, the power of the breath, even musculoskeletally, to rearrange your spine exists. So I might be talking a lot about this, and that's because it deserves to be talked about a lot. Let's take the blanket, put the blanket on the mat. Bring your prop. So it could be a block. I'm going to show you some of what I would do. I want to do some things here where we stretch our arms, we stretch our spine, we use our prop to come on, we come over to the side, stretching the side of our body. So I'm going to use this where I could keep a straight arm. If you didn't have that, you had pillows or even a block, having your block here, putting your block here so that your hands, your forearm, to try to not bend your elbows so that you can come straight, and then moving it over to the side when we come to the side to do the lateral, the side body stretch. So you could use a block for this. It's a lot more forgiving and more relaxing when you have a bolster or pillows. So taking your body onto your, come onto your fingertips. So we're really not using the wrist yet for those that have wrist issues. And take your hips and start swaying your hips side to side. And then bring yourself back and front, getting some lubrication in the shoulders and the hips. Let's do a circular pattern. Go to the front, to the side, back to the side, and front again. And move around in a circle. And if your fingers are sore, because this is definitely strengthening the fingers, go to the other side. Just be there as long as you can, not pushing the envelope, but be there as long as you can. If you need to move your hands closer to your body, do so. Close your eyes, explore the nooks and crannies. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring yourself all the way up. Come onto a kneeling position, a little break for weight bearing. Take your fingers, move your fingers, look at them. There's a bend on the top of the fingers. Make sure that all the joints are bending. Really try to articulate the hands. And then imagine you're grasping for something. And make it muscular. Keep your fingers and hands moving, the muscles in the hands. Shake your hands. So we're going to stretch our spine, 26 vertebrae, 2 of them are embedded in the pelvis, 5 lower lumbar, 12 attached to your ribs, 7 in your neck, and then you have your head. So from the crown of the head to the tailbone, let's think about lengthening, creating space, stretching the muscles along the spine. A lot of muscles, paraspinal muscles, go up and down the spine. Muscles of posture, muscles that are holding you up all day, every day. From the moment you wake up to the moment you lay back down in that bed. Let your forehead rest on the blankets, pillows, or whatever you have. Or on the ground if you're doing this without props. And then bring your awareness to your pelvis. See if you could start to move your pelvis in a forward-backwards movement. So bring the awareness to the tailbone. And imagine you have a paintbrush taped onto your lower back. And you're trying to paint a strip of paint up and down the back wall. Might only be a little bit, might only be half of an inch or an inch. Getting a little movement into your pelvis is going to stretch the lower back muscles. Bring yourself to neutral. If you are able to take your block, pillow, or prop a little farther away and let your body go back a little bit more. Get a little more stretch here in the armpits and the chest. Keep your head active. Don't let it hang, but let your body be moving closer to the ground. Different bodies, different things to do. Use the prop and explore where you feel a decent stretch. And again, you could do this even without props. Let's come to the side. Let's go to the left side. Left side, hands are going to the left. Let your head rest on your right hand. Push your right hip to the right. Feel that stretch along the right side body. And then breathe to the right side where you feel that stretch. And then bring yourself back to center. Going back to center and then all the way over to the right. Let your head rest on your left hand and then push your left hip to the left. Feel that stretch on the left side. Breathe to the left. Take one more breath. Bring yourself back to center to balance everything out. Make sure your body weight is going back so your pelvis is moving back to create that stretch in the front. And then bring yourself up. So that's a deep stretch for side body and then muscles of the chest and the shoulders. So I am using the bolster because it actually makes it a little easier, but it can be done without the bolster. This next one is going to bring in some strength and mobility and some lubrication to the joints. Let me show you this first. So this is a little flow. We're going to go slow because with aging joints, meaning if you're out of your 50s or around that 50 plus mark, you want to go slower with your practice to not move through the joints too much. We're going to come forward. We lower down when our shoulders are above our elbows and above our wrists. We come either onto the ground or into our prop. Take your nose like you're pushing a marble away from you. So you start to bring a bend into the cervical spine, the 7 vertebra of the neck. Then it starts to go into the next 12 vertebra where your ribs are attached. Push your heart forward, push your hands into the floor. You come all the way down to the lower back and you'll feel the belly stretch. From here, bending the hip joint, push the belly up towards the spine, bringing yourself back with an exhale. When the body folds, when the joints fold, we exhale. We inhale to unfold. We exhale to lower down. Keep your head active. Inhale, the nose pushes away. Begin that back bend in the cervical spine. Bring it into your thoracic, into your lumbar. Flex your hip joint, move yourself back. Go slow, either with or without a prop. You inhale up, you lower down, you inhale up, and you lower down. So there's 4 breaths in this movement. Go slow. Developing strength in the shoulders, the upper body, coming into extension or a back bend, stretching the belly, the psoas, bending the hip joint, lubricating that. We need a good functional hip to protect our low back and our knees. Keep our spine safe. If you want to try to do it without the bolster, try without the bolster. Definitely much more muscular work, especially when you lower down. Go slow with your flow. Do what feels appropriate for your body. Finish up your last few movements or last few series. Do the whole 4 breaths. And go slow. Slower is harder. Slower is better for your joints. And then bring yourself back into the puppy dog, tushy in the air, forehead on the ground or on the bolster. Take one more breath. Bring yourself up. Bring yourself out. When I first did my yoga teacher training in 2009, in my very first level class, that's what we did, because that was considered a half series and a modification of the full series of a vinyasa flow. This was the modification. So interesting because I think it feels amazing. And even right now, I'm feeling my arms and my shoulders. So there's a lot of healthy aging value in that when you do that half series and you do that slowly. This next one we're going to do is stretching the front of the body, stretching the back of the body. So let me show you this. It's a sequence that many people use to wake up. You come forward into a back bend and you come back into the puppy dog for our group. For some people, they go all the way back into a child's posture, which has some spinal flexion, but we want to make sure we don't press the front of the spine into itself. And then you come up into a upward facing dog and back. So whatever variation, forward and back, it's a bending and an unbending of the hip joint. And we're really stretching the muscles of the low back and the belly area. You inhale forward when you have space to receive breath. You exhale back when your joints are bending and your body is closing off. Feel that deep belly stretch if you're able to let your pelvis come close to the ground. Come forward, stay here. Push your heart forward. Clench your teeth or close your teeth so that your bottom teeth come to the top. Feel the lower ribs pulling away from the pelvis. Feel that stretch in the belly. And then bring yourself up. Bring yourself out. Take a break in between. So either stay here in a kneeling position or come down on your heels if your knees will let you. Close your eyes, catch your breath, bring your awareness to your lungs, lower, middle, upper, mouth closed. Take a couple of breaths through those 3 areas of the lungs. And then gently open your eyes. So let's do a little flowing movement here that is for strengthening the back. So now we're going to challenge muscles as we bend our hips. So we did that bending the hips, flowing motion to warm up our spine. And now we're going to actually slow down, challenge the muscles as we go forward in that forward fold, training ourselves how to forward fold safely, effectively, and properly, and strengthening the parts of us that does this. So this is a forward fold. So come up to have your bolster in front of you or pillows. And if you don't have any of those, at the very minimum, having a block that would be elevated like this. And we're going to begin by bending forward and pushing our tushy back. So imagine that you had raw eggs right here where your legs attach to your body, and you're trying to break them. Don't let your spine bend, only let your hip joint bend. Your spine stays in its neutral curves. Pushing your tushy back, and you're going to feel the glutes. This is the glutes lengthening and contracting, largest muscle group in the body. Try to crack the eggs and then bring yourself forward. This is a great effective glute strengthening movement and teaches you how to bend properly, functionally, and safely. One more. And then bring yourself back up. So either have the block there or the bolster. We're going to take that now and we're going to go down, and what's going to happen is the back muscles are going to have to be a little activated when we do this. So what we do with this is we come forward here, inhale, and then as you exhale, you bring yourself forward, keep your hands back, flip your hands so your palms go up towards the sky, crack those raw eggs, so your belly coming close to your top thighs. Let your hands go one on top of the other to the sacrum, base of the spine. Let your forehead touch the block or blanket or props or whatever you have there. From here, keep your spine long. Exhale. As you inhale,
Push a marble away with your nose, so let your neck get involved, let your head start to come up. And then you slowly bring yourself up. That's a lot of weight for the core, for the back muscles. So make sure it's appropriate. You may need to be a little bit higher there. Hands are down alongside your body, palms are forward. Exhale. Inhale. And as you exhale, push your tushy back. Start to crack the raw eggs by the hip joint. Roll your palms up towards the sky. Head is still active the whole time. Head comes down, hands go on top of each other. Inhale, push a marble away, bring your head up, and bring yourself up. Exhale down. And inhale up. Go slow. One more. Bring yourself down. Stay here, let your forehead rest. Activate your core, push your belly button up towards your spine. Exhale. Inhale, last one, go slow. Tip of the nose reaches away from you, go slow here. Point your tailbone down, push your belly button towards your spine, hug your lumbar spine. And then bring yourself up. Let's rest in between. Whatever you need to do. Close your eyes. The glutes are the largest muscle in the body. Notice if you have an accelerated heart rate. Keep your mouth closed, breathe. Calm your heart. Take one more breath. So I like to stretch the low back, thinking about the low back from below the lower ribs to where the top of the pelvis is. So the muscles that are in between that part of your body, your core, your stabilizers, what rotates your trunk, helps you move throughout life, really important. This is why a lot of people have a lot of issues in this area. So we're going to stretch that area. The best thing really is to do with something like a bolster or pillows or blankets that are folded, even like blankets, if you had blankets and folded blankets like that, so that it would be double and there's a decent amount there. That could be something you would do. It could be a bolster where you have the bolster in between where your legs attach to your body and your lower ribs. That would be a way to get that nice stretch. And then, believe it or not, a little bit more intense would be a block. And this is intense. I did a training with this once and I thought, oh my gosh, are you kidding? But it's actually really good for lymphatic movement, good for digestion to put a block there. Definitely better if you've not eaten too close to when you do that, but making sure you stay off the hip bones, letting it be in between and putting that compressive force in the belly area. Not for everyone. What you want to do when you come into whatever you're choosing is to breathe down to your belly. So choose what feels like the best for you. This is also good if you're having digestive issues like gas or anything and you want to move stuff through the system, bringing that compression into this part of the body. Now, if you are on blankets or something or a bolster, you want to make sure it's not on your legs. It's only right where the legs, the top of the legs. So you're in the middle of the part of your body. So you actually get that stretch from where the lower back, the top pelvis is. Breathe down to your, let your head be in one direction, stretching the neck as well. And then we're going to go to the other side. So lift your head up, turn your head in the opposite direction, stretching the neck, the upper back area. Take one more breath. Bring yourself back to center. Bring yourself up, leading with your head. Come all the way up and off. Let's take the bolster or props off the side. And then noticing what's going on with your body, how you're feeling. Definitely doing a flowy practice. Feel that in your body. Let's continue with this movement with breath and then maybe a holding aspect. So we're going to come up onto all fours, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and then walk them forward and turn the fingers out to the side. So give a little break for your wrists. Point the tailbone up the back wall, push the belly towards the ground, push the heart towards the ground, push the throat towards the ground, head up. This is your extension posture. Inhale. As you exhale, begin it with the tailbone. Let the tailbone start pointing down the back wall. Then let the lumbar, 5 lower back bones move. If you have osteoporosis, stop there. If not, you can let your flexion movement move into the upper back and the neck. Inhale into extension, tailbone up the back wall, crown of the head up towards the wall. Exhale into flexion. Stopping at lower ribs with osteoporosis, continuing if you don't. Feel the freedom in your pelvis tilting forwards and backwards. Let that be what initiates that action. And let that be where most of the action comes from. And then bring yourself back up. Come all the way up. Let's take the block. Bring the right foot forward. And bring it pretty far forward. Take your block on the ground. We're going to move and stretch this hip here. So we're going to be bending that front knee, pushing that front heel into the ground, activating that glute, straightening that back leg, and then coming back up. So you go forward and back. Make sure your right foot is very far forward. And use your right hand here. If you push down with your hand, you'll help to keep stability in your trunk. And that'll prevent you from toppling over. There's definitely a balance challenge here. And then that block is there in case you felt like you needed to have your fingertips graze it for balance. Keep your throat open, keep your body open. Come home. Come forward pretty far. So you really lengthen the psoas and the hip flexors on the left side. Inhale forward. Exhale back. You want to add your hand here. You can let your hand come. You'll start stretching a little bit more on that left side. This is a definitely great way to take sitting out of your body if you sit a lot. One more. Come forward. stay here, bring your block forward. Let your body weight come forward a little more so you have more body weight to stretch. Hip flexors, quadriceps, belly, and the body on the left side. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up and out. We're going to go to the other side. So bring the left leg forward, pretty far forward. Block on the right side. Toes are forward. Push that left heel into the floor. Feel how that activates the back posterior chain. Take your left hand. If your left hand is on your thigh, that'll help to support your trunk. Exhale. And then inhale to come forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale. And then take your hand down alongside your body if you'd like to add the hand. Push that front heel into the floor. That'll help you with balance. And then bring yourself forward. You can bring the block forward, coming into the deepest variation of this stretch for your psoas on the other side, hip flexors, quads. Take one more breath. And then you bring yourself up and out. Pause, come, sit, kneel, or whatever feels appropriate for your body. Close your eyes, feel your body. So I'm going to come down onto the ground. Before we do, take your strap and loop your strap so that it goes about body distance, maybe a little tighter. And actually take your hands in here. Take your hands in the strap. If you're not able to loop your strap, you could hold on to your strap like this, pulling out. So take your hands in your strap right around the wrists. Bring your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Slide the shoulder blades towards the spine. Lift your arms up and down. See if you could feel that stretch on the upper back. If you're not able to sit on your heels, you could do this in a kneeling position. Keep your elbows straight. And if you wanted to make this work, you could come inhale up, exhale, sit back on your heels, working your quadriceps, your knees. If you wanted to continue with that flowing action,